everybody, it's Drybear. Season 3 has been out for about a week here, but they actually introduced a really cool system into the First Descendant that I think is worth diving through, and that is the Boost Up event, an express event that allows you to jump into TFD, whether you're a brand new player, an intermediate player, or a veteran player, gather a bunch of rewards, and it's primarily focused on getting new players onboarded into the experience, teaching you about how leveling up your character works, how equipping module works, all the different functions that you'll find in the main city Albion, and how to construct your character to make it stronger. So today I wanted to walk through the entirety of the Boost Up event, and we'll look at it from different perspectives, from the person who just downloaded First Descendant, the person who has maybe a little bit of time in First Descendant, and of course the veterans who have been playing for a very long time and may have all of their characters built out, and they're wondering, is it worth it to do the Boost Up event if I already have all my builds set up? Is there resources that I can get? Is there some value I can extract from the event itself? Now, starting with the person that just downloaded the First Descendant and is wondering what this new Boost Up event is about. The thing about the Boost Up event is an accelerated boost event that allows you to progress through the game. However, it does one thing on the jump, and that is it completes all of the normal story mode for the game, which means if you're brand new, like you just downloaded the game, I would recommend taking the time to go through the normal campaign. It will teach you a lot about the universe, about the characters. You'll see some really cool cutscenes. You'll get to meet the characters one by one, talk to them, be introduced to them, get their backstories. And I think that's useful because as the characters become more engrossed in the story as we go along, as the campaign progresses, you're going to want to have that background on the characters. And it's probably the thing that people enjoy the most about the game is just, finding their favorite character, building it out, and seeing how strong they are. So I recommend if you're a brand new player, don't activate the Boost Up event right away. Take the time and complete the normal mode of the game. It'll just go through the world map, go through each zone and set it up, and it'll get you a sense of how the world is set up and the lore and the experience for the characters themselves. So when you're first starting out, this is going to be your headquarters, your faction hub. This is Albion. This is like the main headquarters of the protagonists of the game. You're going to land in here, and I would recommend going through the normal mode, which if you press G on PC, it'll bring up the world map, and all the normal mode is going to do is you're going to start out in Albion and go through Kingston, and you're going to slowly go through all the different zones and unlock them one by one until you get all the story. Each zone has like a brand new character to introduce to you, new story, new cutscenes, all of that background. And I think it is useful to do that. So, when you're going through and you can actually see the world difficulty, there is a normal mode and a hard mode. You unlock the hard mode by first completing the normal mode. So do that if you're brand new. Then once you're ready, or if you really want to skip the normal campaign and just get caught up to your friends, like maybe people are, have friends that are, a little bit further ahead of you and you want to get caught up to them, you can do the Boost Up event. Just know that it will complete all the normal mode campaign, that you can watch the cutscenes later if you wanted to, but you won't be able to experience it naturally. So you will be met with this screen when you first log in if you haven't activated the boost. So this is the main event here. So when you're looking at this main event in game, you're going to want to pay attention to like the details and the duration of it, but it does warn you here that again, you're going to complete all the normal mode to get it. So from this point forward into the video, I'm going to talk mostly to like people that have made it through the normal mode or have committed to the fact that they're going to skip that normal mode campaign, and we'll kind of split it up into two different sections. The people that don't have a lot of investment in the game, like they just got through the campaign, they're wondering what to do and wondering what to build, and then we'll kind of look at it as a veteran's perspective to say, hey, I've got everything I want. What are the resources and benefits I can get from the event in general? And also real quickly, if you are someone that's trying to push through the normal mode of the game, it takes about 10 to 20 hours, depending on how aggressive you are in watching the cutscenes and listening to the characters. So it's not too long. It'll take you a weekend if you really just want to go through the normal mode. If you are pushing through the normal mode of the game, all I would recommend doing is just going into the game and just getting some defense and some HP. So I would literally just get these two modules, increased HP and increased defense. You can also slap in a grappling mod in there as well. This is all you need to put on your character. I wouldn't even take any of the recommended bonuses. Just get some HP and defense so you don't die to mobs that you're fighting, and then, upgrade these modules here for your character. So just make sure you have that. And then when you're looking at a weapon specifically, so we can go to one that maybe has like an open slot on it, you can, none of these do. So for your weapon, I would just pick a decent weapon or whatever weapon you want. It doesn't really matter all that much when you're doing the normal mode. And for the same reason that we did on the character, I would just get some firearm attack. So that's what you're looking for here. So what I would get is action and reaction, and then I would get the rifling reinforcement. These 2 mods is all you really need. You don't have to get a bunch of mods, just get these 2 mods specifically and upgrade them all the way, and that will give you plenty of firepower and plenty of survivability to go through the entirety of the normal campaign. If you really want to get frisky bisky, you can actually just get fire rate as well. So you get like fire rate up, slap that in there. You'll notice that this is enough here just to put this. Get these 3 modules, the weapon will carry you through the entire story, and then just get the defense and HP on your main character and you're good to go. And if you're a brand new character and you're wondering where to upgrade your modules, this is where you will load into Albion at this entry point right here. And then all you have to do is just walk forward and you're going to walk over to the vendor. The big thing about Albion is it has a whole bunch of crafting vendors, NPCs, and stations that you can use to fabricate things and upgrade things. So just follow this path, turn right from where you spawn, come down this way, go around this corner, and you're gonna go straight down to this hallway. You'll see this giant archway here that has all these gold lines coming through, and then we're gonna come down here to this guy right here, Cillian, and he's going to be the one that upgrades your modules. So just come talk to this guy, hit talk, go to enhanced module, find the modules you're looking for, hit this button and upgrade it all the way, and then hit enhance. You might have to farm a little bit for the Kuiper and for the gold required, the resources required to upgrade it. But again, those 5 modules is all you will need for the entirety of the normal story, and then you're good to go. So now that that's done and we've kind of handled the people that just downloaded the game, now let's talk about people that have finished the normal mode or have committed to skipping the normal mode and want to know how to get started in the boost event itself. So when you first log in, you will be met with this screen here, and you can hit the activate boost button. If you, for whatever reason, close this and you can't find it again, all you have to do is jump in game and open your inventory. On PC, this is I, and you will notice on the right side of the screen here, there is a boost path button. Hit this button and then you'll be able to bring up the screen that you'll need to activate the boost event. Once you hit activate boost, you will have 2 choices to pick from depending on what you look for. So you have the option of option A, which is right here, activate boost, and you have option B, which is claim components only. The main difference here is that if you are a new player that just finished the normal campaign, or you're someone who just like skipped the normal campaign is getting started, do the activate boost, because activate boost is going to be the full-on like new player experience. It's going to grant you a bunny, so like you don't get bunny for free. You choose from the 3 starter characters, Ajax, Viessa, or Lepic, and then you have to farm bunny. But with this boost up event, they give you a regular bunny for free, a normal Descendant. It'll give you a Thunder Cage, a Secret Garden, and a Vestigial Organ to play with. It'll give you a full set of external components, and it'll give you a reactor that is useful for bunny, and it'll give you a little bit of bonus as well. So if you're brand new, you just finished the normal campaign, hit activate boost, you'll get bunny for free, you'll get all this stuff for free, and it'll auto equip all this stuff for you, including some modules, and it'll set up your dismantling setup as well. If you're a veteran player, you're someone who has your dismantle settings the way you want it, your junk settings the way you want them to be, you have builds and everything, choose the claim components only option instead. What this does is it doesn't forcibly equip anything or forcibly change anything. It just grants you all the items it would normally grant. So it's not going to mess with your presets. Like if we jump into game and you actually look at this, all of your presets are going to be the same. Like it's not going to mess with any of them. It'll just forcibly equip whatever it is that it gives you for that boost event. So keep that in mind. Additionally, if you are a veteran player, you can go over to your junk filter and you can keep track of where your junk filter is. By the way, this is my junk filter that I use for end game content. So if you wanted to copy this, you certainly could. The setup here. So that's external components. This is reactors for the stats there and the way it looks, the things that I have turned off. And then for weapons, I just keep this at ultimate 100 exclude for the new weapons that come in. It gets rid of the purple weapons for end game if that's what you're looking for. Just keep in mind that if you are a veteran player and you choose the boost option, it will reset these to something a little bit more friendly to a newer player. So you may want to keep track of that as well. So once you're ready, choose the option that you want, select it. It'll say boost up settings applied, or it'll give you the items that you need for it, and your boost up settings are ready to go. And it'll turn into this screen here, which is 4 separate pages, some to 2 to 3 columns of tons of rewards, tons of quests to complete. And if you're a brand new player that just activated the boost, you can see I chose the beginner version. It'll just set whatever whatever you have equipped. It'll give you the bunny and give it set up. I currently had normal bunny dismissed because I have ultimate bunny and I don't keep the duplicates of it. By the way, if you're a brand new player and you're wondering what the difference between a normal Descendant is and an ultimate Descendant, so like if you go in here and you look at it, you'll notice that there's like an ultimate Blair, and then if you go down here, there is a normal Blair. The only difference between between the normal version and the ultimate version, because I know this is confusing people that don't play similar like looter shooters, is the ultimate version gets access to 2 special modules that can define their playstyle, and the ultimate version has a slight stat increase over the normal, and it's really just a difference of like 10 to 15%. So it is the same character with the same abilities, they equip the same way, they just get 2 new modules that can modify their playstyle and augment their abilities, and they have a slight stat increase. It's not the same for every Descendant. Some Descendants get a little bit more HP, some get a little more defense. All of that is there. So if you're in game, you can actually go and check out like the details and see what their stats are and their lore and all of that. So all that can be shown. But you'll look at the difference between the normal and the ultimate Descendant. It's really not that big of a difference. You can see like ultimate Descendant Blair versus regular has almost the same shields, has the exact same shield recovery, a little bit more MP, a little bit more HP, and a little bit more defense. So a small stat increase and access to 2 unique modules. That's the only real difference. However, it does mean that if you have the ultimate version of the Descendant and the normal version of the Descendant, there isn't actually any reason to use the normal version of the Descendant unless you're trying to push leaderboards. So if you have the ultimate, you may as well use the ultimate. It's going to be more powerful anyways. Now let's pause for a second and talk to the veteran players that are probably wondering, why would I bother doing this if I already have, Mastery 30, I have all the weapons in the game, I have all the Descendants in the game, I have my build set up the way that I want them. Why would I bother doing the boost up event? So let's talk a little bit about that for the veteran players that are wondering, what's the freaking point, right? So you have all of these boost event quests. You will get a large number of materials. You can see there's like catalyst materials here. You can get some amorphous. You can get like blueprints for more catalysts, activators, fully cooked catalysts, and all that stuff. All of that you can farm yourself, and likely the stuff for like weapons and characters, if you have every Descendant and you have every weapon, you're not going to need any of that. But the big turning point for this event is there are unique materials that only exist in this event that are actually quite useful. So if you're a veteran player and you have everything you want, you're wondering whether it's worth it to activate the boost up event, what I would do is activate the claim components only version of the boost up so you get the items, and then pick and choose the missions that you want to get. And the main draws for this is you will get a photon imprinter. So we can talk to like both the beginning players and the beginning players and the veteran players. So you will get a photon imprinter for free with this. The big thing about the photon imprinter is this is an item, as I mentioned earlier, even if you're a brand new player. We talked about how a normal Descendant is basically just a slightly weaker version of an ultimate Descendant. The photon imprinter is a consumable item that allows you to transfer the progress of your normal Descendant to your ultimate Descendant, because obviously if there's 2 versions of every Descendant, it gets kind of squirrely, right? Because why would I invest in the normal version if I know that the ultimate version is better? And the big solver for that is going to be the photon imprinter. So you would actually go here and you would get a photon imprinter and be able to transfer the progress to that. You will get one for this event. So if you have a Descendant that you've been working on, you can also save it as well. Descendants like Serena or Inez or Haley are all very powerful normal Descendants that don't have an ultimate version. You can even do it for Luna as well. Luna is a very powerful normal Descendant. She has an ultimate Descendant version coming in a month or 2. So you can hold on to that imprinter and transfer the progress from that Descendant to the ultimate version, and you're good to go. So that by itself is worthwhile. But additionally, there is a new type of consumable in this boost up event that is hugely valuable to any player, or even veteran players alike. Is very, very useful. You're going to want to pick it up, and that is in the boost path. They have these serum potions. So there is a version of this for weapons and a version of this for Descendants. And this item, no joke, is exactly the amount of XP that you need to get from level 1 to level 40. For the brand new players, that is a max level for that character or that weapon. So it gives you consumables, and there's multiples of these. You can actually stockpile these from the event, and all you have to do is equip a Descendant or equip a weapon and then activate this consumable, and it will grant your currently equipped Descendant or currently equipped weapon a full max level. So you can go from level 1 to level 40 in an instant. But you can stockpile these, and these work on any Descendant or any weapon. So if you do the boost up event and hold on to the imprinter and hold on to these X point serums, then when a new character comes out, like Captain Harris or Ultimate Eugen, Ultimate Luna, when Daya finally comes out, you can hold on to these, and then you can just use it to instantly level up to 40, spend a catalyst, instantly level up, spend a catalyst. So there are valuable items in here, even if you are a veteran player. So now let's dive into the progression of the boost up event and talk about like how you do it. It's really just a list of quests. All those quests are going to be right on your screen. So you look at the top left corner, you'll notice that I have like Research Ultimate Bunny. That is going to be your progress there. So at any time when you're walking around with your Descendant on PC, you can press F1. Comment below if you're on console, you know what the hotkey is for that for anyone that's on console. But you can press F1 and it'll bring up that quest list that we had for the Boost Up event. And all you have to do is just look at these quests and go do what it tells you to do, and you'll get the reward listed on it. What's cool about this as well is that you can bring this up by pressing F1 on PC, bring up this menu here. In your inventory, you can also go to this button up here in the top right corner with the picture of Bunny on it. It'll also take you to that screen. They also made it really easy too. When you hover over one of the quests, you have these hotkeys here, so like tracking on, tracking off, but you also have a go hotkey. So right under the tooltip in the middle of the screen there, you see the bottom, it says go. All you have to do, if you don't, like if you see the quest here in the top left corner and wondering, wait, how do I actually do that? Where do I go for that? Because if you're a brand new player, you don't know, you can just go to this and hit F on PC, and it'll actually take your screen to the map location that you need to do to actually go do it. So if in the case of here of doing a dungeon, it tells you where to go in order to complete that dungeon. But that's not all as well. If you're standing in an area that actually has a walkable path to that, you can press tab, and tab will bring up this little walker. So whatever this is on console, I'm not sure what the hotkey is for on console, but you press tab and then it'll just kind of create this thing. So you can actually just follow this path and it tells you exactly where to go, and you can just follow it. It's super easy, super straightforward. It'll teach you all about where to go and what to do. Even if you have to go upgrade something or go to a vendor, it'll take you to the vendor. So what it's doing here, since the quest that I have on the current stage of the Boost Up is to go do a dungeon or an infiltration operation, as it's called in First Descendant, you'll notice that it has the Boost Up icon over the actual marker, and the marker, like the pathway, takes me there. So now we can go here. This orange area is where you sign up for infiltration operations without having to go to that location. You can click on this and you'll be able to, since we just talked about doing one of these, right? You can click on it, you can activate it, and join it straight from Albion without having to go out into the field to queue up for it. But you can see that the direction indicator for this takes us straight to it, so it makes it very easy. Now is a good time to do just a very cursory overview of all the mechanics that you'll need as a brand new player. So veteran players, I'll leave the timestamps down below if you want to skip over this. But let's do a very quick tour of Albion just to give new players a sense of what's going on. When you land down in Albion, this will be your initial spawn point. There is another one if you open the map, this one over here. This one spawns you closer to the research center where you'll be crafting things. And you can go over to this and you'll notice on the tooltip, you can actually set your default entry location. So if I like right click on this, you'll notice that it turns blue. When I load back into Albion again in the headquarters, it'll spawn me over here instead of the entry point. Some people like the other one, some people like this one. I like this one because it spawns you closer to these over here, which allow you to queue up for things, whereas a lot of like the crafting, creating, and researching functionalities are on the other side, like the west end of Albion. The east end has the queuing, and I prefer to be next to the queuing, but you can choose whichever one you want. So this is going to be your first spawning location. When you land here, you'll notice there is this globe right here. This is going to be a search info option, which allows you to change difficulty or open things, like look at the map, that sort of thing. There are hotkeys for this, and they actually added a new area in the latest Season 3 that allows you to deal with that, which is going to be this robot right over here. So if you walk forward, you walk over to this little pink guy with a cute little hat. This is where you're going to look at for events. Events are super important. You can see there's 5 events running right now. If you're brand new to TFD, there's always going to be events going on. They've kept events running basically 24/7 for the last 6 months or so, and it doesn't seem like they have any intention of stopping that. So this is where you're going to find like your login events, your bonuses. Like every day you log in, you get some cool new rewards. There's like actually events that you get for currencies and stuff like that. So every time you log in, get in the habit of checking your events. And sometimes Magnum and Nexon will have web events as well. You'll find links to those as well. But kind of just check your events every time you come in because there's some good rewards to be had. So from the event guy, let's turn back around and go over this way. You're going to have like basically right in front of my screen, you're going to have the some of the more major queue up areas. As they've been doing more updates to the First Descendant, they add new activities, new locations, new encounters, that sort of thing. So you'll probably have more of these popping up over time, but a lot of these are here. So the first one is going to be the one we already looked at, this orange globe right here. This is going to be the Infiltration Operations Terminal. I refer to them as dungeons because that's what they are. It's a, a dungeon that you go to and clear and you get loot. So if you're trying to do dungeons, you go over to this and you can select all of these here. There are the Infiltration Operations, and then there's Void Erosion Purge. Void Erosion Purge is where you're going to get the augmentation cores specifically for your weapons, which is a progression system that you'll learn about during the boost up event and as you progress forward. There are also these right here, which are the special operations. These are round-based modes that give a very large amount of weapon experience. So this is my recommendation. If you're trying to level weapons, I would do these special operations. They have a very high reward rate for giving weapon experience in general, and they have multiple stages, and they're all in one place, especially the defensive ones. So you can just stand in one place, farm, get weapon XP, and get done with that there. From here, you can also turn around and walk over this way. These are the Void Vessels, and I know it's a lot of names and nouns to remember, but the Void Vessels is another activity. This is where you're going to farm like your pets that allow you to pick up loot and auto dismantle, another activity there. And then if you turn here and go over this way, there's going to be a Sigma sector, which is last season's new event from season 2. Activate this and you'll be able to do Sigma sector. The boost up event will require you to do several Sigma sectors. This gives you a lot of very good loot in the game right now. More cores, spoils boxes for mutant cells, things like that. So you will have to come over here and do that. So a lot of the queuing options are in this main area here, and you'll be bouncing around between those. Behind us, so we spawned right over here. You'll notice these little these containers with legs on them. There is a yellow one and there is a red one. So these are like your personal storage options. The yellow one is actually your storage. It's like your chest. So you open this up and this is where you store stuff. So you store weapons, you store reactors, external components. This is where you store excess items that you don't want to have. Later on, as you progress through the game, you will get more inventory slots naturally by playing to just hold on to more things. But if you want to, keep track of old weapons, or you want to free up more inventory space for you so you can just loot more stuff when you're playing, this is where you're going to do the storage. And then the red version is going to be your mailbox. This is where you'll get like items from the devs. They give out stuff. If you finish an event, you'll get mail here that shows up. It'll allow you to collect items, or if they grant you something from a special event, it'll show up in your mailbox. There's also a lost and found, where if you ever have a full inventory and you get given a quest reward, it'll end up in your lost and found. So you'll see this pop up and glow orange if you have mail to check out. Next up is going to be the RK area, which is this right here. So again, that's where you spawn. You come over this way. You're going to walk over, and this is going to be the RK spot right here. This is where you're going to get a lot of interesting interactions. So if you open this up, you'll notice there is a mastery rank up. This is from collecting things in the game and ranking up your mastery. You can do RK tuning here as well. You can unlock the new trigger modules in season 3, and this is where you're going to do the implant when you have those imprinters, those photon imprinters, to transfer from a normal descendant to an ultimate descendant. This is where you're going to do it. So anything at count level that you want to do, you want to come to the prime hands here and go to this terminal, which is right where you spawn in normally. Then from the spawn points, you come over here, and this is where you're going to get all of your crafting information. You'll have quests spawning up here in the main headquarters with the main characters. So you'll come up and get quests that show up here in like the briefing room, the bridge. You'll come over to here. This is the Descendant instructor. This will teach you a lot about mechanics. You'll have quests that you'll have to complete from him. He will talk to you and teach you about things as well. So you'll kind of stop there. And then we'll head over to the crafting section of Albion, which is this whole side on this side of the map. So again, we already talked about the module guide that allows you to upgrade modules, dismantle modules, gain things like that. This is a laboratory right here, which will allow you to test your descendants and test your builds, spawn enemies and fight against them. And you also have crafting things here as well. So a lot of your crafting stations, like this right here for weapon cores, this right here for implanting things or upgrading some of your components and reactors. Then you have this for modulating your weapons as well. And the final piece is going to be this right here, which is like this little atrium. Inside of here is where you're going to be crafting items. So like actually researching them. So talk to Anais here, one of the magisters, hit research, and this is where you're going to create things. Anything you need to craft, you're going to find the materials to research characters, research weapons. All of that is going to be done through here. So this is where you're going to kind of pick those up. I actually need some of these, so I may as well just throw some of these in here as well. Let's make 100 more of those here since we're on the spot. So that's going to be your main area of Albion. All right, hopefully that was a good refresher for people that have been away from the game, or just a good primer for people that are brand new to the game. Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the Boost Up event and what you need to know about starting it and finishing it as well. well, and the rewards that you're going to get. Keep in mind that there are still some bugs with this event, some things that are, not tracking. They just did a hotfix yesterday. I'm sure they're going to do several more to clean things up, but in general, you just have to do what the request requires. Now, depending on which setup you chose, you may actually have to, I made a little baby bunny here. You may actually have to use baby bunny or normal bunny for some of these things. So you'll kind of set that up with what you're given. And it will tell you on the quest in general if you have to use bunny or not. Some of them, a lot of them you may be able to get away with not using bunny, but just pay attention to whether it says bunny in front of it. It may require you to have bunny equipped as the character that does it, especially if you're as your new player, you may as well use bunny in general. Now again, veteran players, use the timestamps down below. Let's talk about bunny very fast, just so the new players that have never played bunny understand how to play her, because I think that's very important. So we're going to come over to Sienna and we're going to enter the laboratory and show off some of the skills. So we're going to load into the laboratory. If you've never used laboratory before, real quick, this refreshes your ammo and resources, and this spawns enemies for you to fight. So let's go in here. Let's make one little Vulgus that can spawn here, and this is how it's going to work. So you have your 4 abilities, you have your passive. The way Bunny works is Bunny builds up electricity by running. The more she moves, the more she builds up her passive resource. At the bottom of the screen, you have your 4 abilities. Under that is your mana bar. So when you use your abilities, your mana is going to drain. But you'll notice that as I move as Bunny, I'm building up a second blue bar, and that is how much static electricity she has in her body. So Bunny's whole thing is run and keep running. The faster you go, the more you move, the more dangerous you are, the more electricity you build up. In general, when you're playing Bunny, the simplest way to explain it is you want to activate her second ability. So if I run like this normally, this is how fast I go. If I activate the second ability, it is a toggle. So I activate it and you'll notice I go faster. So I'm moving faster and building up more static electricity. And all you have to do is activate her third ability. So press the third ability. And now as you move, based on the distance that you're traveling, you will zap enemies around you and deal damage. Super easy, super straightforward. Just have the second ability active for as long as you can, and then keep the third ability up all the time, and you'll be pulsing damage to targets that are around you. And yes, it is a giant circle in all directions, so as you move around, it'll shock anything in an area, and that's all you have to do if you're a brand new player. Just activate the second ability to go faster and build resource. Activate the third ability to deal damage, and then that's it. That's Bunny in a nutshell. You have some builds that utilize her first ability, though there aren't very many of them. And there are some that'll use the ultimate as well, that'll do a big explosion. But realistically, all you really need for this boost up event is to understand, move faster, activate your third ability. Now, for the veteran players, there will be a quest that says use crystallization catalysts on your normal Bunny, and you will have to do this. So unfortunately, remember the boost up event gives you a bunch of free catalysts, but you will have to actually go in and use catalysts on your Bunny. It does give you a free photon imprinter, so any of the catalysts that you use on your normal Bunny, you will be able to transfer over to Ultimate Bunny. And keep in mind that when you do that photon imprinter transfer, if you already have, if you have the same catalyst slot on the normal Bunny and the Ultimate Bunny, it will give you a refund of the catalyst as well. So no resources get wasted in that process, but you will have to do it. And you might have to upgrade a module as well. So you'll see this one says upgrade a module. I have pretty much every module in the game maxed out at this point, but it can be useful to be able to just make a new module, upgrade it just to get the quest done, and then you can dismantle it if you want to get rid of it later. But you'll notice this step here, enhance, maximize range to level 5. You will have to do that to get that done. For the brand new players, if you didn't know, the system in this game is a system based on resetting levels. So your weapons have a maximum level of level 40. Your Descendants have a maximum level of level 40. The way the system works is you have 2 different ways to increase your module capacity. So if I remove my fat head here, in the top right corner, you'll notice there is a module capacity at the very top. This is the cost, the total cost of all the modules you have equipped. So you'll notice that here, each of these modules has a number above it based on its, the level that it's upgraded to. That's how much it costs to have that module equipped. And so you want to be able to maximize the capacity of these and get more modules in it. And the way you do that is by catalyzing a slot. So we're going to go here to module additional settings. You can do the assign module socket type, which the quest will require you to do. You select one of the module slots and choose what type of slot you're looking for. Then it will cost you a crystallization catalyst to modify that. And the way this works is that if you have a module, so I'll take this module here, you'll notice that it costs 11 and it has an X mark, which is the type of module slot that exists there. But you'll notice that I've catalyzed this slot to have an X on it already, which means that if the module type matches the catalyzation of that slot, it will cut the cost of that module in half, but then round up. So for 11, you'll notice we put it on, it rounds up to 6, it cuts it in half to 5.5, and then rounds it up to 6, but 6 is less than 11. So if you're actually able to get more catalysts on this character, you will be able to get more and more modules in here by cutting their value in half and fitting more modules, increasing your power. Which means once you've progressed far enough, look, you can get a full set of these. You can get a ton of them. You can see when it's green, that means there's a catalyst in that slot. So we go here, we can see all the catalysts we've applied here to get this going, and then you can actually get a full build, and this is going to be a big part of you getting stronger and stronger. However, the thing that you need to know about the catalyzation process is that not only does it require a crystallization catalyst that has been cooked and completed, but also requires your weapon or descendant to be maximum level. So you'll see how it says 40 out of 40. We have catalyst here. We can go over here and select one of these, and then we can apply it. It will allow us to do it. However, once you do it, it's going to reset the descendant level to level 1, or if you do it on a weapon, it's going to set the level of the weapon back to level 1. So this is level 40, we can apply this here. It's going to reset the level down to 1. So the process becomes level your weapon or descendant up to maximum level 40, apply a catalyst, which allows you to reduce the module cost of modules in that slot that line up with the module type, and then you level that weapon or character up again and do it again. And that process of gaining experience, applying the catalyst, gaining experience, applying the catalyst is how you increase the power of your weapon or descendant over time. Now let's talk about stuck points, because there are like a lot of these quests are very specific, and there's a ton of people getting confused through many of these of like, I'm doing the thing it says to do, I can't seem to get it to work. So the big thing here is that they want you to follow the path that's given. So a lot of these, especially like the ones on the first page, which I've already completed here, it'll tell you to use bunny. Even the activities, it says, it'll be like, bunny, go do this thing, right? So if you're not playing bunny, you may not get credit for it in general. So you want to pay attention to that. Some of these you can do as any descendant if you want. And some of these even work. So like transferring, like using the photon imprinter to transfer to from normal bunny to ultimate bunny. It actually works if you use any descendant to transfer. You don't necessarily need to use bunny for that. Even things like go complete Sigma sector or go do this mission, it will allow you to do it as any character besides bunny. So if you're a veteran player and you don't really want to do that, you may have to kind of just like switch between characters and go back and forth. But if you get stuck on some things, make sure you pay attention to that. There's also some other things as well where it says like, kill enemies using a specific ability. You may have to make sure you remove all of your red modules and go to the location that it's telling you to go to get credit for that. There's also some of them that are for like Haley specifically, like use Haley to get this or use an activator on Haley. Some of these work where like if you're doing like use an activator on Haley, you can actually use an activator on any other character besides Haley and it should still work. So it kind of like teaches you how to use that. So like for this one here, complete max module capacity up using energy activators. All you have to do is get activator and use it on any descendant, and this one should unlock as well. There's also some missions where it says like complete a hard infiltration operation. There's actually 3 different versions of hard for the infiltration operation, and it'll have a percentage on it as well. So if we run over to the infiltration operation terminal, you will see a percentage, which is the difficulty level on the infiltration operation. And the big thing about a lot of these boost up quests is you kind of have to do precisely what it's asking you to do. So for example, with these, if you go to like a normal infiltration operation on hard, you have 100% and 250%. These are the modes you have to do in order to complete that mission. But there is on a daily rotation a 400%, which was only available for that day. I believe these don't count for the mission. So you need to actually do a 100% or a 250, depending on how prepared you are to face off against that. And then you can do 400% for your dailies, but just make sure for the missions, you're kind of doing as precisely accurate as you can to what the mission is asking you for do. Play the character it asks you to play, use the build it asks you to play, do the exact difficulty and location it asks you to play. Even when it tells you to go to Sigma Sector, there are 2 different Sigma Sector locations. So we go to Sigma Sector here and we open this up. There is a broken boundary and a isolated desert, but you'll see in the bottom left, there is a normal version of both of them and there's a high risk version of both of them. It will start out asking you to do one or the others. So it'll say on the mission, do normal isolated desert or like high risk broken boundary. Just make sure that you're actually doing that exactly as it says, because I've seen a lot of people with this boost up event saying, I don't understand why it's working, why it's not working. But realistically, it's just because like there might be some small detail that's off a little bit on what it's asking you to do. And that's kind of part of the process of learning what it's trying to teach you. So that is all you have to do. Complete these quests. Comment down below if you've discovered new things about this. I know some people are figuring out like little tricks of the trade for the boost up event, like how you can complete certain quests with different characters not listed or different weapons not listed. So if you have any tips, put that in the comments down for the new players. What I'd like to do now is just like as fast as I can, just a very general basic knowledge share, like, you know, after playing TFD for a full year, like what I can share about the game and some lessons and things that might help you if you're a brand new player playing the boost up event. First, let's talk about finding what to farm and how to efficiently farm it, because this is a looter shooter. Half of the genre title is looting. This is a big part of the game that I think a lot of new players either get overwhelmed by or get frustrated by. So the first thing that you want to know about loot is you're going to want to open your library. So if you have a hotkey for this, this is one of the few menus that you can open. It's the library tab here. You can press J on PC for journal and go to library. I have my library key bound, and this is where you can look through an extensive codex of all the items in the game that you're trying to farm. So for example, you want to get a specific weapon, say you want to farm Divine Punishment, you can go to your library, click on Divine Punishment, and it tells you all the resources that you need to collect in order to craft these items. And then with these 4 items, you put these 4 together, you can then research at Anais, at that station that we talked about on the other side of this area here, to craft that item and get it unlocked. So knowing that the library there is a big part of being able to get those things, because it allows you to look things up. However, you'll notice at the second half of the library here, there are 2 things that two little like boxes that you can check to actually improve your whole experience. So the first one is target items. And what this is just a way for you to track. If you've ever played a survival game, you can go to an item here, you can click on it, and then you can press U on PC, but on console, it'll have that hotkey listed on the hot tip or on the tooltip. You can actually add and remove items to this. So if, say, you want to keep track of the Orca Lift device blueprint, you can activate that, and it'll show up in your target item list. And when you're walking around normally, you can press U on PC, and it'll actually show all of your target items so that you know how much of what you're trying to track you've gotten so far, and whether you've actually gotten the item or not. It'll tell you, 1 out of 1, 5 out of 1, that sort of thing. So that's how you keep track of the items. But there is a pity system, which is the target reward list, which is right here. So the difference between being able to set a target item that you want to track to know, like, hey, keep track of what I'm looking for just so I know what it is and when I get it. The target reward list is a separate list that allows you to mark a reward, and every time you do the activity that drops that reward, when you don't get it, it counts as a pity failure, and this bar will go up. When this bar fills all the way up to maximum and hits 100%, you will guaranteed get that item. However, they just recently changed this with the Season 3 update, where if you pick something that has, like, it drops multiple rewards and you track all of the rewards on here, it will split the progress between them. So generally, you want to set one of the rewards as a target and only have one of them. And then every time you do that activity, you run a dungeon, you do Sigma Sector, you do the new Axian Plains, you run like a Void Vessel. When you do the activity and you don't get the item you're looking for, the pity system will tick up a little bit, which will eventually guaranteed to get the item. The difference between those for marking, when you go here, you'll notice that here it just says, find out acquisition info or tracking. If you do the acquisition info on this item and open it up, it will allow you to select one of these, and then down here you can see on the list it says set target reward. So I can actually press G here, and you'll notice that it now adds it to my pity system, my target reward list. So now if I do an activity that drops Orca loot, for example here, if I fail to get that drop, this bar will fill up and progress towards guaranteeing the drop for me. So I recommend, if you're a brand new player, that you're using this constantly. If you're like, hey, I need to go farm this thing, it might take a little bit to get it done. Like, hey, I'm gonna go farm I don't know, you're gonna go farm Glay or something, mark one of these as a target reward. So you can actually mark it as a target reward and then guarantee that drop if you don't get it fast enough. This is a big part of being able to actually do this because it helps you get through those big humps where you might get unlucky and not get the item you're looking for. Next, let's talk about your reactor and your external components. This is going to be a big part of you making builds in the game. You'll notice that all of these, like if you look at these components here, at the name of it, it says Enlightened Mage Auxiliary Power, Enlightened Mage Sensor. This is a set with a set bonus. So at the bottom, you can see the set effect. There's a 2-set bonus and a 4-set bonus. So these are all things that you're going to be collecting throughout the game that you kind of keep track of and look forward to. So as you find these, you may want to keep track of these. Again, if you go to the library, you can see all the external components in the game, the set bonuses that they have. And if you like either look up a build online or try to make a build for yourself, you may want to look through the ones that give you the biggest benefit depending on the build you're looking for. And there's going to be like different stat rolls on them and things that you can get from those as well. Now, when it comes to reactors, there's a couple really important aspects about a reactor that you have to understand. Otherwise, you will be missing out on massive amounts of power. So let's look at what a reactor does. It's probably especially for skill-based builds, for Descendants that use skills, this is the most important aspect of the core of their build, is their reactor. So if we look at this reactor here, there's a couple things to note about it. The first thing is at the top, you'll see how it says optimization condition. You need to have this active if you want to get the most out of your reactor. So you'll see here on that it says launcher weapon class equipped or mounted, hand cannon weapon class mounted. The way this works is that whatever mount condition you have on your reactor, you need to hold in your hand the weapon type required to get a 60% bonus on the power that you get from this. So I see a lot of new players miss this aspect or not understand it fully. So for example, I have launcher and hand cannon as the mounts for this reactor. So if we were to switch to a hand gun, which is a different type, you'll notice that right now it says hand cannon weapon class equipped, skill power activated. If we look at our skill power now, it says 24,000 is our skill power. But if we were to swap to a handgun, you'll notice that we went from 24,000 skill power down to 15,000, a massive reduction in the amount of skill power we have just because we changed what weapon is in our hands. And that comes from the mounting system. So you'll notice that now I'm holding a hand gun, not a hand cannon or a launcher. I have now failed to meet the optimization condition on my reactor, which means I lost that 60% boost on the reactor itself. So when you're farming reactors, you're looking at the stats that are on it, the type of a reactor that it's looking for, make sure it's matching the element and type of skill that you're looking for. But also you'll notice that now that I show one that has handgun on it, it will increase the power. If I have one that's beam rifle, I'm not holding a beam rifle, you'll have a negative there. However, they added a system quite a long time ago that's pretty nice, which you go over here to this crafting area here. You can actually add with implants more of those, right? So if I have mine here, you see how I have hand cannon and launcher. If I were to grab this one here, I can actually add sniper rifle as an option to this by getting the resources, spending the gold, and adding to it. So you can have 3 different weapon types equipped to your reactor, which means that if you have a build of 3 different weapons, you can put all 3 weapon types on it to make sure that you are using the correct weapon to get that bonus for your reactor. And then next from that is going to be the type of reactor, and then down at the bottom are the 2 stats that you can roll for it as well. This is a large list of stats that you can get from it: skill cost, cooldown, duration, range, crit, not, power types, element types, that sort of thing. So depending on the build you're looking for or the build you're copying from online, you'll have those stats to choose from. But it's very important that you understand how the mounting system works. And this happens to even like intermediate and sometimes veteran players as well, as you may not realize that your reactor has a type of mount on it, and then you switch weapons accidentally, disable your mounting bonus, and then you lose a bunch of power without even noticing that you had it there. So just make sure you pay attention to that. Another hot tip for farming reactors and farming external components, this wasn't always the case, but they added this quite a while ago. You can actually upgrade the stats on an external component or on a reactor. So for example, I have some of these reactors that just dropped randomly. You'll notice on the reactor I have now, at the very bottom of it, it says fusion skill power boost ratio, non-attribute skill power boost ratio. Those are both in gold because they're maxed out. But you'll notice some of these have like blue and purple, and that's the level of strength on that stat. You actually don't need to get reactors and external components to have max rolls on them by default anymore. You can just come to this thing here and actually do the option enhancement, which will allow you to go to a reactor or an external component that doesn't have the maximum value on those, and then you can upgrade it. I mean, I'm just going to waste some resources here so you can see, but you can increase the value of that stat all the way up to maximum, even if it didn't drop and roll with the stat by default. And yes, you can do the same thing with external components here. So you can find an external component, you can spend some resources, boop, and you can increase the stats on it. So again, you're just looking for the stats that you want on it. So if you're trying to get like a full build that has these really good stats on them that are all gold, you can just, get the base stats that you want and then spend resources or farm resources and then spend them to increase the value of it as well. Next, let's briefly touch on the implanting system. There's basically a couple things in the game that are a consumable item that you will farm, and then you will inlay that item into a different system to make it stronger. The most notable is going to be cores system. So if you go over here to the crafting bench, you can go to weapon cores. You'll notice these items here. So like these, like tactical augmentation core, the attribute augmentation core. These are ways that you can implant items into your weapons, into your external components, into various systems to make them stronger. So if you look at, like, for example, if you go to like your login event and you're wondering like, hey, I'm doing this login event, and on the login event, it gives me this thing that gives me a bunch of augmentation cores. Why do I care? These are ways for you to make your weapons stronger, make your external components stronger, or even with things like the arcade tuning board, you can implant stuff like the mutant cells, which you can farm and implant to get more power. There are several systems. I'm not going to go through all of them in this video. I think it's, this video is already crazy long as it is, but just keep in mind that there's going to be grinding things that you'll be able to collect, and that's how you add these additional stats to your weapons or to your gear to be able to get more value out of them to increase their efficacy. Next, let's talk about like the secondary systems. So like the fellows and the vehicles. So you get some of these cool pups that you can use. The best thing about these is they will follow you around as you go around. So you see, like, I have Mac over here who's just going to follow me. You can actually have them kind of come around. These will follow you around, and the cool thing about the fellows is they will pick up items for you and auto dismantle them, which means that you don't have to do it. When the game first came out, when you had items dropping, you actually had to go through and manually mark these for deletion as you're doing missions and get rid of them, dismantle them, get the materials for them, and do it all manually. But once we got the fellows online, that ended up giving us the option to auto dismantle. So you can see it here on the left side. So what I would do is follow the boost event, get your ultimate bunny set up, and then probably go rush over to Void Vessel and get your fellow farmed up as well. Because having this auto dismantle and item pickup is just so nice and so crucial to your core gameplay experience that it's going to be really cool. And there's currently two types of them. There is a German Shepherd, a GSP, and there is a lab as well. So you can have these. They have different buffs. The lab will give you, like if you look at the passive here on the left side, auto refill rounds. It'll give you ammo. The GSP will give you a auto HP recovery, or recover your HP, and there is a Husky coming soon as well. Then with Season 3, we got vehicles, which are these hover bikes. You can actually jump on these in most locations. There's a few mission types or safe zones that you can't get on them, but if you're in the open areas, you can actually jump on your bike and speed up. Every character can use them. It's just a hotkey that you can bring up. So if you want to be able to jump on a bike and drive around, you can also customize these, which is really cool. There's several different kinds of them. So all of these are just like secondary systems that you'll farm. And what's good is you actually will get these through the normal system. So weapons that you farm, descendants that you farm, fellows that you farm, vehicles that you farm, all those are going to be done through the research system with Anais right here. So just go here, you can sort by vehicle, you can sort by fellow, you can sort by weapon, you can sort by descendant. All of these are going to be crafted here with Anais, your research master, and that's a big part of the game. So what I would do if you're a new player is get your, do your boost event and get your bunny set up, get to ultimate bunny, and then maybe just jump straight into getting your fellow, because I'm telling you, it's night and day. Not having to pick up items yourself and not having to dismantle items will make the whole game feel way better for you, but you do have to farm and unlock these. If you want to, you can buy them from the store as well, but I recommend only spending real life money on things that are like cosmetic and permanent items you can't farm, and then farm everything else yourself. That would be my recommendation, but it's your disposable income. You can choose to spend it however you want. And I'll cut the video there. We're kind of getting into some like really nitty gritty stuff, but I wanted to try and include a decent starter package for people that are getting into the boost event, and also include information for veteran players that want to know what the boost event is about and how to actually do it. So hopefully I answered all of your questions questions about the boost event, and if you're a brand new player, help onboard you into the game, because it can be quite daunting at first. And of course, if you have any tips for new players, drop them down in the comments below. If you're a new player, check out the comment section. People will usually comment with advice, or they'll respond to comments. You can ask questions there just to get you started. It is a grind, it is a process, but it's super fun once you get into it, and there's a lot of different ways you can change up your build, farm new characters. There's new content coming online all the time. We just got season 3. There's new patches coming next month and the month after that as well, with new content, a new dog, swords are on their way with melee weapons, a brand new area to explore, new void vessel dungeons and everything. So that kind of gets you into it, but hopefully this was everything that you needed from the boost up event. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.